Genesis 5, A Tale of Two Legacies. Welcome. Now, I know what a lot of us do when we hit Genesis chapter 5. We tend to skip right over it, right? I mean, on the surface, it just reads like this incredibly dry genealogy, basically an ancient phone book packed with hard-to-pronounce names. But as we're going to uncover in this explainer today, it is absolutely not just filler. It's actually this fascinating, brilliantly structured blueprint for human destiny, moral choice, and the ultimate legacy that we leave behind.
Okay, let's dive into this. Why in the world would a 5,000-year-old list of names hold the secret to your personal legacy? It sounds like a total paradox, doesn't it? But hidden right there within this ancient family tree of Adam are these deeply profound truths about human nature and the kind of enduring impact we have. It's not just dusty ancient history, it's literally a mirror reflecting our daily, modern lives back at us.
Let's move right into our first major theme, a blessed yet fallen humanity. So the opening verses here set up this wild paradox. On one hand, we've got the curse from Genesis 3, right? The one placed on the serpent and the land, which was obviously made even worse when Cain violently murdered his brother Abel. Yet, on the totally opposite hand, despite humanity's incredibly fallen state and moral depravity, we miraculously somehow retain God's blessing. Verse 2 specifically makes it a point to say that God blesses us. And this blessing, as scholars point out, is exactly what gives humanity the enduring ability to procreate. It's what establishes us as the humanity we know today, keeping the whole story moving forward. That brings us to part 2, Seth, the chosen replacement. The text quietly, almost subtly records that Adam and Eve received Seth as a direct replacement for Abel. So Seth is born in the image of a fallen yet still blessed humanity. Now recall that Abel's sacrifice was mysteriously acceptable to God. While Seth steps right into this massive void to establish a vital genealogical line, and it's this specific lineage that ultimately leads to the true and fulfilling sacrifice that will provide salvation to the whole of humanity down the road. It sets the stage for the ultimate acceptable sacrifice for the forgiveness of all sins. It's a huge deal.
Moving on to part 3, A Tale of Two Enochs. Now, what's really interesting about this is,
as we move down the family tree, we actually encounter names in Cain's line and Seth's line that are strikingly similar, or in this case, exactly identical. Let's contrast the two Enochs. Cain famously builds a city and names it after his son, Enoch. And this was an act of absolute direct defiance. God had specifically commanded Cain to be a wanderer, but instead, Cain tries to settle down and manufacture a name for himself. You know, it's funny how humanity almost always gravitates toward exactly what is withheld from us. But on the flip side, we have Seth's Enoch. He isn't connected to some rebellious, defiant city. He is simply connected to his father, Jared. And he is remembered for one simple, unimaginably profound thing. He walked with God. And I absolutely love this next detail. The language used here is so incredibly deliberate. Take a look at this Hebrew word, wehi. It translates to were or and there was. Interestingly enough, the author uses this exact same word way back in Genesis chapter 1 during the original creation account. It's basically an etymological Easter egg. It shows us that Seth's Enoch represents a literal new beginning for humanity, very much like Adam did before him. It's a total reboot of the story. Which leads perfectly into part 4, what city are you building? So the crucial point is, how does all this ancient history actually apply to us right now? Seriously, what is this city that you are building? Because we all have the potential to be an Enoch, but are you trying to be like Cain's Enoch, defying the natural order to build these worldly citadels and, just manufacture a big name for yourself? Or are you striving to be like Seth's Enoch, choosing to simply walk with God and by doing so, leaving behind beautiful generational blessings rather than just massive monuments to your own ego? And this brilliantly illustrates something else, because we see this exact choice play out again with another set of identical names, the two Lamechs. On one side, Cain's Lamech acts villainously. He's a total mess, and his family line abruptly ends in complete moral failure. But on the other side, Seth's Lamech is purposely positioned as the righteous father of Noah. So while biblical names often describe a person's path, human beings always possess the free will to choose. Your lineage doesn't strictly dictate your moral path, your choices do. You're never just trapped by your family tree.
Let's just trace that fateful lineage out for a second. From Adam down to Seth, over to Enoch, Lamech, Noah, and finally bringing us to Shem. You can clearly see how choosing to walk with God preserves a line all the way through the generations, perfectly setting the stage for the powerful climax of chapter 5.
And here we are at section 5, Shem and the final choice. So right as chapter 5 concludes, we hear the name Shem for the very first time. He's a completely pivotal figure, serving as the progenitor of Jesus Christ. And there is a truly mind-blowing meaning behind his name. Shem in Hebrew literally translates to the word name, just name. Plus, Shem is the historical and linguistic root of the term Semite, which translates to Sem in Greek. Because of that, even the modern term anti-Semitism traces its roots all the way back to this singular person. There is such a profound poetic irony here. The man whose name literally means name becomes the forefather of the ultimate name to be praised.
As we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Will you build citadels to make a name for yourself, or will you choose to walk with God to glorify His? Genesis 5 is absolutely not just some dusty list of dead ancestors. It's a living, breathing challenge, asking you to decide exactly what kind of legacy you're going to leave behind. Thanks so much for joining me, and I genuinely hope this completely changes the way you read your own history.